The chime of her phone cut through the silence of her darkened apartment, and Chloe Fenton reached for it with a mixture of dread and resignation. Her own voice, perfectly rendered but speaking words she'd never said, echoed from the screen, "I'll make sure he never threatens you again. No one will ever find him." The third call this week from detectives investigating a disappearance she knew nothing about. San Francisco's skyline glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of her 23rd floor apartment, a view she'd once considered worth the exorbitant rent. 3 years ago, the panorama had represented possibility, opportunity, the glamorous tech career she'd dreamed of since college. Now those same lights seemed to mock her as she paced across the polished concrete floors, her reflection ghosting across the darkened windows. She'd sold her voice to Synthetics 2 years ago. $50,000 for the right to clone her vocal patterns for premium customer service experiences. The contract had been specific: automated hotel concierge systems, luxury brand customer support, high-end virtual assistants. Nothing controversial, they'd promised. Nothing she wouldn't approve of herself. Detective Morris's voice had been polite but firm when he'd first contacted her. "Miss Fenton, we have audio evidence connecting you to the disappearance of Warren Holloway. We need you to come in for questioning." Her protests that she'd never met Holloway, had never even heard of him until that moment, had fallen on skeptical ears. Even when she'd explained about the voice licensing, the detective had remained unconvinced. "The technology to fake audio exists, Ms. Fenton. That's why we need to establish your whereabouts." The irony wasn't lost on her. She'd licensed her voice to AI because it sounded trustworthy. Chloe pulled up the contact information for Adam Grayson, Synthetics' legal counsel and the man who'd personally handled her voice licensing contract. 3 missed calls to his office number, 2 unanswered texts. She tried again. "Adam, it's Chloe." "Again?" "The police have more recordings. I need to know who's using my voice model. Call me back." She hung up, knowing it would likely join the graveyard of her other unanswered messages. She opened her laptop, searching again for information on Warren Holloway. 52 years old, retired investment banker, reported missing 3 weeks ago by his ex-wife. Last seen leaving his Pacific Heights home on a Tuesday evening. No evidence of foul play, but no digital footprint since his disappearance either. The police were treating it as suspicious. And somehow, her voice was involved. The intercom buzzed, startling her. The doorman's voice came through the speaker. "Ms. Fenton, there's a Detective Morris here to see you." Her heart raced. "Send him up, please." Detective Morris was younger than she'd expected from their phone conversations. Mid-30s, with prematurely silver hair at his temples and the watchful eyes of someone who'd seen too much. He declined her offer of coffee. "Ms. Fenton, we have a new development. We've recovered Warren Holloway's phone, and there are several voice messages from a number registered to you." "That's impossible," Chloe said, but her voice wavered. "I've never called him. I don't even have his number." "May I?" Morris gestured to her sound system, and when she nodded, he connected his phone. Her voice filled the room. "Warren, stop being paranoid. No one's watching you. Meet me tonight at the usual place, 8 p.m. We need to discuss the transfer." Chloe felt her legs weaken. She sank onto her couch. That sounds like me. But I swear to you, I never said those words." The timestamp on this call is May 12, 7:15 p.m. "Where were you that evening?" Chloe struggled to remember. "A Tuesday night, 3 weeks ago. I was here. Working late. I'm a UX designer for Horizon Tech. I was on deadline for a project. Anyone who can verify that. I had a video call with my team that ended around 6:30. After that, I was alone." She saw the skepticism in his eyes. "Detective, please. I sold my voice to an AI company called Synthetics 2 years ago. They must have licensed it to someone who's using it for this." Morris made a note. "We'll look into that. But right now, the evidence points to you. Your voice, Calls from your number. My number? That's not possible. The calls came from a burner phone, but it was registered under your name and social security number. Cold fear washed over her. Someone is framing me. Or someone is using your voice AI without authorization. Morris's expression softened slightly. I'm not arresting you today, Ms. Fenton, but don't leave town. We'll be in touch. After he left, Chloe grabbed her keys and coat. If Adam wouldn't come to her, she would go to him. Synthetics occupied the top 5 floors of a gleaming glass tower in the financial district. Chloe had been here only once before, the day she'd signed her contract. The lobby was an exercise in minimalist luxury, white marble floors, a living wall of tropical plants, and a reception desk that appeared to be carved from a single piece of black volcanic stone. I need to see Adam Grayson, she told the receptionist, who looked like she'd stepped out of a fashion magazine. The woman gave her a practiced smile. Do you have an appointment? No, but he'll want to see me. Tell him Chloe Fenton is here, and it's about my voice being used in a criminal investigation. The smile never faltered. Please have a seat, Ms. Fenton. I'll see if Mr. Grayson is available. Chloe paced the lobby, studying the massive digital display that showcased Synthetics as products. Smiling virtual humans promised personalized experiences in dozens of languages. Your voice, our technology, unlimited possibilities, the tagline read. Chloe. She turned to find Adam Grayson approaching. He looked exactly as she remembered, tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, with dark hair just beginning to gray at the temples. His smile seemed genuine, but his eyes were calculating. Adam, thank you for seeing me. Let's talk in my office. He guided her to an elevator that opened with a scan of his retina. His corner office offered a panoramic view of the bay, the Golden Gate Bridge visible in the distance. The furniture was modern and undoubtedly expensive, but the room was dominated by an interactive display wall showing voice pattern analyses and usage statistics in real time. I've been trying to reach you, Chloe said as she took a seat across from his desk. I apologize. It's been a chaotic week. New product launch. He leaned back in his chair. You mentioned something about a criminal investigation. Chloe explained the situation, watching as Adam's expression shifted from polite interest to concern. This is unusual, he said when she finished. We have strict protocols for how licensed voices can be used. Someone is using my voice to frame me for a crime, Chloe said. I need to know who has access to my voice model. Adam tapped at his tablet. Your voice is part of our premium package. Currently, it's licensed to 17 corporate clients for customer service applications, all vetted and legitimate. Can any of those clients use it to make custom recordings? His hesitation was brief but noticeable. No. The licensing agreement specifically prohibits that. They can only use it within our approved conversational parameters. Then how do you explain those messages? Adam set down his tablet. There are only 2 possibilities. Either someone at one of our client companies has violated their agreement and found a way to extract your voice model from our system, or what? Or someone has stolen it. He met her gaze directly. Voice theft is becoming increasingly common. Black market dealers sell celebrity voices, political figures, anyone whose voice might be valuable. And mine would be valuable because? It tested exceptionally well in our metrics. Trustworthy, soothing, authoritative when needed. It's why we offered you such a high licensing fee. He stood and walked to his display wall. I'll initiate an internal investigation immediately. We'll audit all access to your voice model, check for unauthorized downloads or usage patterns. While you do that, I have the police investigating me for a disappearance. Adam turned, his expression serious. I understand, and I'm genuinely sorry. I'll provide a formal letter confirming your relationship with Synthetics and explaining the possibility of voice fraud. It might help with the detectives. I need more than a letter, Adam. I need to clear my name. Let me see what I can find out. He walked her to the elevator. I'll call you as soon as I have anything. But as the elevator doors closed between them, Chloe couldn't shake the feeling that Adam knew more than he was saying. Back in her apartment, Chloe poured herself a glass of wine and opened her laptop. If Adam wouldn't give her answers quickly enough, she'd find them herself. She might not be a programmer, but as a UX designer for a major tech company, she knew people who were. She messaged her friend Damon, a security specialist at Horizon. Without giving too many details, she asked about voice AI and how difficult it would be to extract a voice model from a secured system. His response came quickly: depends on the system, but most have vulnerabilities. Why? Someone steal your sexy voice? Tongue sticking out, she ignored the joke. How would you track down who did it? Follow the digital breadcrumbs. Every access leaves traces. Someone would need admin credentials or serious hacking skills. Either way, logs exist somewhere. Chloe considered this. Synthetics would have those logs, but would Adam share them? Something about his reaction had seemed off. Too controlled, too practiced. Her phone rang, displaying a number she didn't recognize. She answered cautiously. Ms. Fenton? This is Caroline Holloway, Warren's ex-wife. Detective Morris gave me your number. I think we should talk. They arranged to meet at a quiet cafe in New Valley the following morning. Chloe spent a restless night, her dreams filled with disembodied voices that all sounded like her own. Caroline Holloway was elegant in the way that spoke of old money and careful maintenance. She appeared to be in her late 40s, with sleek blonde hair and the kind of understated jewelry that costs more than most people's cars. Thank you for meeting me, she said as they sat with their coffees. Detective Morris mentioned your situation. Did he tell you I had nothing to do with your ex-husband's disappearance? Caroline's smile was small and sad. He mentioned your theory about voice cloning. Actually, that's why I wanted to speak with you. Warren was involved with synthetics. Chloe nearly spilled her coffee. What? How? He was an early investor. He sat on their board until about 6 months ago, when he sold his shares and resigned rather abruptly. Caroline stirred her latte absently. He wouldn't tell me why. We've been divorced for 5 years, but we remained friendly. He seemed worried in the weeks before he disappeared. Paranoid, even. Did he mention anything specific? Only vague comments about ethical considerations and lines being crossed. I thought it was just Warren being dramatic. He always did have a flair for that. Her eyes grew distant. Now I wonder if he discovered something. Chloe leaned forward. Did you tell Detective Morris about this connection? Of course. But the police are focusing on you because of those voice messages. I wanted to meet you myself, to see if I was capable of harming your ex-husband. Chloe finished for her. Caroline met her gaze directly. Yes. And I don't believe you are. Which means someone is going to considerable lengths to make it appear that way. Do you have any idea who at Synthetics might have wanted to harm Warren? No. But I have this. Caroline reached into her purse and removed a small USB drive. Warren gave me this the last time I saw him. Said if anything happened to him, I should give it to someone I trusted outside the company. I haven't looked at it myself. I'm not very technical. Chloe stared at the drive. Why give it to me? You don't know me. Because you're being framed. That means you're as much a victim as Warren might be. And because I've done my research on you since speaking with Detective Morris. You have a good reputation. No criminal record. Well respected in your field. Caroline, if this contains evidence, you should give it to the police. I've made a copy for them. But Warren didn't trust institutions. He always said individuals make the difference. She pushed the drive across the table. See what's on it. If it's nothing, no harm done. If it's something, maybe it helps us both. Chloe reluctantly took the drive. I'll look at it today. As they parted outside the cafe, Caroline caught Chloe's arm. Be careful. Warren wasn't a man who scared easily, but something had him terrified. Back in her apartment, Chloe examined the USB drive. It looked ordinary enough, but plugging an unknown drive into her computer seemed like a recipe for disaster. She pulled out an old laptop she kept as a backup, disconnected it from the internet, and inserted the drive. It contained a single encrypted file. Chloe stared at it, frustrated. She couldn't access it without a password. Her phone rang, and she answered without checking the caller ID, still focused on the encrypted file. Ms. Fenton, it's Detective Morris. We have a situation. Warren Holloway's body has been found. Chloe felt as if the floor had dropped away beneath her. Where? In a storage unit in Oakland. Rented under your name. Her voice came out as a whisper. That's not possible. I need you to come to the station. Now. The police station was cold and institutional, the interview room even more so. Chloe sat across from Detective Morris and his partner, Detective Alvarez, feeling trapped despite being told she wasn't under arrest. Yet. The storage unit was rented 3 weeks ago, Morris said, consulting his notes. Paid for in cash, but the rental agreement has your signature, your driver's license number, and your social security number. It's forged, Chloe insisted. I've never rented a storage unit. The security camera footage shows a woman wearing a hat and sunglasses, but with your general build and hair color. We're working on enhancing the images. Morris slid a photograph across the table. Does this key look familiar? It was a close-up of a key with a distinctive blue plastic covering. Chloe shook her head. No. I've never seen it. It was found in your mailbox this morning. We had a warrant to search your building's mail area. Morris leaned forward. It opens the padlock on the storage unit where Holloway was found. Chloe felt her chest constrict. Someone is framing me. This is connected to Synthetics, the AI company that licensed my voice. Warren Holloway was an investor there. Morris exchanged glances with Alvarez. We're aware of that connection. We've been in contact with Synthetics. Have you spoken with Adam Grayson? The legal counsel? Yes. He confirmed your voice licensing agreement but said there's no way their system could be compromised to create the messages found on Holloway's phone. Chloe felt a chill. He's lying. His response to me yesterday was completely different. He acknowledged it was possible. Ms. Fenton, we need to discuss your whereabouts on the evening of May 12th in more detail. For the next 2 hours, Chloe went through her schedule, offering what evidence she could of her activities that night. Her browser history showing she was researching UX trends. Food delivery records. A phone call to her mother at 9:15 p.m. Not much of an alibi, Alvarez commented. I was home alone working. I didn't know I'd need to account for every minute of my evening. Chloe fought to keep her voice steady. Have you looked into who might have wanted to harm Warren Holloway? Because I had never even heard his name until you contacted me. Morris closed his notebook. We're pursuing all angles. For now, don't leave town. We'll be in touch. They didn't arrest her, which Chloe took as the only positive outcome of the meeting. As she left the station, her phone chimed with a text from an unknown number. I know you're innocent. Meet me at Luna Coffee, 8 p.m. tonight. Come alone. I have information about Synthetics and Holloway. Chloe stared at the message. It could be a trap, but at this point, she had few options. She texted back a simple OK and headed home to examine the encrypted file again. After several failed attempts to open it, she remembered something Caroline had said about Warren being dramatic. On a hunch, she tried ethical considerations as the password. The file opened. Inside was a collection of documents, most labeled with Synthetics project names she didn't recognize. She opened one titled Echo Protocol and found herself looking at technical specifications for what appeared to be an advanced voice synthesis system. The technical jargon was beyond her, but certain phrases jumped out, indistinguishable from human speech patterns, emotional inflection mapping, and most disturbingly, behavioral prediction algorithms. A separate document contained meeting minutes from Synthetix's board. Warren Holloway's name appeared repeatedly, often in opposition to something called Project Mockingbird. The final entry, dated 5 months before his disappearance, simply stated, W. Holloway resigns from board, citing irreconcilable ethical concerns regarding Project Mockingbird applications. The last file was a personal note, apparently written by Holloway himself. If you're reading this, something has happened to me. Project Mockingbird began as voice synthesis but has evolved into something far more dangerous. They're not just copying voices, they're predicting what people would say in specific situations, creating entirely fictional conversations that never happened. The military and intelligence applications are obvious and terrifying. They've gone too far. I've taken my concerns to the CEO, but she's determined to proceed. Watch out for Grayson especially. He's the architect of the legal framework that keeps this all just barely within the law. Chloe sat back, her mind racing. This wasn't just about voice cloning. This was about creating entirely fictional scenarios using real people's voices, predicting what they might say and how they might say it. Her voice hadn't merely been copied, it had been weaponized. She checked the time. 7:30. She needed to meet this mysterious E and find out what they knew. Luna Coffee was a small shop in the Mission District, known for staying open late to serve the startup crowd. When Chloe arrived, it was busy but not packed. She ordered a tea and took a seat near the back, where she could see the door. At 8:05, a young woman approached her table. She was petite, with short dark hair and rectangular glasses, wearing jeans and a hoodie that read, "Question everything." Chloe Fenton. When Chloe nodded, the woman sat down. I'm Eliza. I work at Synthetix. Engineering department. You're E. How did you get my number? Company database. All voice donors' contact information is stored there. Eliza glanced around nervously. I shouldn't be here. If they find out I'm talking to you. Who's they? Management. Specifically, Adam Grayson and our CEO, Diana Chen. Eliza lowered her voice. I know about your voice being used in the Holloway case. It's not the first time this has happened. Chloe leaned forward. What do you mean? Project Mockingbird. It's supposed to be about creating realistic voice interactions for customer service, but there's a shadow version. They've been perfecting technology that can predict how a person would speak in any given situation, based on their voice patterns, psychological profiles, and social media presence. That's what Holloway discovered. Eliza looked surprised. You know about that? I have his files. He gave them to his ex-wife before he disappeared. Then you know why this is so dangerous. It's not just putting words in people's mouths. It's creating entire fictional narratives that sound completely authentic. Eliza pulled out her phone and tapped the screen. Listen to this. A man's voice emerged from the phone speaker. The prototype exceeded expectations. We can proceed with the defense contract, but we need to keep this compartmentalized. Only the core team should know the full capabilities. That's Warren Holloway, Eliza said. Except he never said those words. This was generated entirely by AI, using samples of his voice from board meetings and investor calls. And you think this is what happened with the messages on his phone? Someone used Mockingbird to create fake messages in my voice. Eliza nodded. It's the perfect frame. Use your voice to implicate you in Holloway's disappearance, knowing that you sold your voice rights to Synthetix. Even if you claim voice fraud, it looks like you're just using a convenient excuse. But why me? Why frame me specifically? Because your voice is one of the most extensively mapped in our system. You spent hours in the recording booth when you sold your rights. Most voice actors do a few hundred phrases. You did thousands because they were developing the premium model around your voice patterns. Chloe felt cold. So I was chosen because I gave them the perfect weapon. Essentially, yes. And because you have no connection to Holloway or synthetics beyond the voice licensing. You're the perfect patsy. But who's behind it? Adam Grayson? Eliza hesitated. I don't know for certain. But after Holloway resigned, Adam took over most of the Mockingbird oversight. He's been pushing the project forward aggressively. And he's been meeting privately with Diana Chen and some government representatives I don't recognize. So they killed Holloway to silence him, then framed me to divert attention. That's my theory. But I don't have proof. Eliza looked around anxiously. I need to go. I've already stayed too long. But there's something else you should know. They're monitoring your communications. Your phone, email, everything. How do you know? Because I was assigned to the team doing it. It's why I reached out to you this way, from a burner phone. She stood. Be careful who you trust, Chloe. And watch out for Adam. He's not what he seems. After Eliza left, Chloe remained at the cafe, her tea growing cold as she processed what she'd learned. If what Eliza said was true, Adam Grayson was not only aware of her voice being misused, he might be directly responsible for framing her. And possibly for Holloway's murder. Her phone buzzed with a text from Adam himself. Good news. Our investigation found potential unauthorized access to your voice model. Can you meet tomorrow morning to discuss? My office, 9 a.m. Chloe stared at the message. Was it a trap? Or was Adam genuinely trying to help, unaware that she suspected him? Either way, it was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. She texted back, I'll be there. Then she called Detective Morris. If she was walking into a trap, someone should know where she was going. The detective sounded tired. Miss Fenton, it's late. What can I help you with? I have information about Warren Holloway's death and how my voice was used to frame me. I'm meeting with Adam Grayson at Synthetics tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. If I don't contact you by noon, something's wrong. There was a pause. Are you saying you believe Grayson is involved in Holloway's death? I'm saying I have evidence that Synthetics has been developing technology that can create fictional conversations using real voices. Technology that could have created those messages supposedly from me. What evidence? Holloway's own files. He was concerned about something called Project Mockingbird. He resigned from the board over it. Another pause. Forward me what you have. And Miss Fenton? Don't do anything foolish. If you have evidence, bring it in. Don't confront Grayson yourself. Just promise you'll check on me if you don't hear from me. I promise. But this isn't a game. If what you're saying is true, these people have already committed murder. Chloe knew he was right, but she also knew the police moved slowly, and evidence could disappear quickly in the digital world. She needed to confront Adam directly, to see his reaction when she mentioned Mockingbird. That night, she copied Holloway's files to a secure cloud account and emailed the access link to Detective Morris. Then she prepared for her meeting with Adam, downloading a recording app to her phone that would capture their conversation. The Synthetics building looked different in the morning light, somehow colder and more imposing. Chloe passed through security, the recording app already running in her pocket, and took the elevator to Adam's floor. His assistant greeted her with a professional smile. Mr. Grayson is expecting you. Go right in. Adam stood as she entered, his smile warm and reassuring. Chloe, thank you for coming. Can I get you anything? Coffee? No, thank you. You said you found something. He gestured for her to sit. Yes, our security team identified an anomalous access pattern. It appears someone with legitimate credentials was downloading voice model data outside of normal protocols. Someone with legitimate credentials, Chloe repeated. Like a Synthetics employee. Adam nodded, looking appropriately concerned. We're still investigating who, but yes, it appears to be an inside job. Possibly someone in our engineering department. Someone working on Project Mockingbird, perhaps. Adam's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. I'm not familiar with that project name. That's strange, because according to Warren Holloway's notes, you're the primary legal architect behind it. The silence that followed was tense. Adam's smile faded. You've been speaking to someone. Who? Does it matter? I know what Mockingbird is, Adam. I know it goes far beyond simple voice synthesis. I know Holloway resigned because he thought it was unethical. And now he's dead, and someone is trying to frame me for it. Adam stood and walked to his window, looking out at the city. You don't understand what's at stake here, Chloe. Then explain it to me. He turned to face her. Mockingbird is the future. Not just of communication, but of human interaction itself. The ability to predict how someone would respond in any situation, to generate authentic speech that never actually happened. Do you realize what that means? It means you can put words in anyone's mouth. Make them appear to say or do anything. Exactly. And yes, that power can be abused. But it can also be used to bridge gaps in human communication. To create understanding where none existed before. His eyes were bright with conviction. Imagine diplomatic negotiations where we can predict how a foreign leader would respond to various proposals before ever sitting down at the table. Imagine mental health applications where we can simulate conversations with loved ones who've passed away, helping people process grief. Or imagine framing innocent people for crimes they didn't commit, Chloe countered. Creating false confessions, false threats, false evidence. Adam shook his head. Every technology has potential for misuse. That doesn't mean we should abandon it. Did Holloway feel the same way? Adam's expression darkened. Warren was short-sighted. He couldn't see beyond the potential risks to the transformative benefits. So you had him killed? What? No. Adam looked genuinely shocked. I had nothing to do with Warren's death. Yes, we disagreed about Mockingbird, but I would never. He stopped, collecting himself. This conversation has taken an unfortunate turn. Then who did kill him? And who used my voice to frame me? I don't know. But I intend to find out. Adam returned to his desk. I believe someone is trying to sabotage Mockingbird by creating exactly the scenario Warren feared, voice technology used to commit and conceal a crime. And I'm just collateral damage. Unfortunately, yes. Your voice model was likely chosen because of its high quality and extensive mapping. He met her eyes directly. I want to help clear your name, Chloe. If someone at Synthetics is responsible for this, I want them found and punished. Chloe studied his face, trying to determine if he was sincere. How do I know you're not just trying to find out what evidence I have against you? You don't. But consider this, if I wanted to harm you, why would I have invited you here? Why would I acknowledge the security breach at all? He leaned forward. I'm not your enemy in this, Chloe. Before she could respond, his office door opened, and a striking woman in her 40s entered. She had short, silver-streaked black hair and was dressed in an impeccable charcoal suit. Adam, we need to. She stopped, noticing Chloe. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were in a meeting. Diana, this is Chloe Fenton. One of our voice licensees. Adam's tone had changed subtly. Chloe, this is Diana Chen, our CEO. Diana's eyes widened slightly in recognition. Miss Fenton. I've heard your voice many times, though we've never met. What brings you to Synthetics today? Chloe glanced between them, sensing tension. I was just discussing some concerns about how my voice model has been used. I see. Diana's smile didn't reach her eyes. Adam, when you're finished here, we need to discuss the Department of Defense presentation. Of course. After Diana left, closing the door behind her, Chloe looked at Adam. Department of Defense. Standard business development. Nothing sinister. He seemed distracted now, his earlier openness replaced with professional distance. Chloe, I think we should continue this conversation another time. I'll have my team expedite the investigation into the unauthorized access. Chloe stood. Sure. But Adam? If I find out you're involved in framing me, I'll make sure everyone knows what Mockingbird really is. His smile was tight. Be careful with accusations, Chloe. They can have serious consequences. Outside the Synthetics building, Chloe checked her phone. The recording app had captured everything. She texted Detective Morris, meeting complete. I'm safe. Have audio you need to hear. She was halfway to the police station when her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Chloe, it's Eliza. Where are you right now? On my way to meet with Detective Morris. I recorded my conversation with Adam. Turn around. Don't go to the police. Eliza's voice was urgent. Diana Chen just called an emergency meeting. They know you have Holloway's files. They're activating some kind of protocol. I heard Adam on the phone with someone at the police department. Chloe felt a chill. What are you saying? I'm saying they have people inside the department. You can't trust Morris. That's ridiculous. He's been investigating me. Exactly. Keeping tabs on what you know and where you're looking. Why do you think they haven't arrested you despite all the evidence? They're watching you, using you to see who else might know about Mockingbird. Chloe stopped walking, uncertainty washing over her. If I can't go to the police, what am I supposed to do? Meet me at the ferry building in 1 hour. I have something that will help. Eliza hung up. Chloe stood on the sidewalk, people flowing around her as she tried to decide what to do. If Eliza was right, going to Morris could be walking into a trap. But if Eliza was wrong, or worse, if she was part of the setup herself, Chloe could be making a fatal mistake by not seeking police protection. She decided to trust her instincts. She texted Morris again, something's come up. We'll contact you later today. Then she headed for the ferry building. The iconic marketplace was bustling with tourists and locals alike. Chloe found a bench overlooking the water and waited, scanning the crowds for Eliza's face. At exactly 1 hour from the call, Eliza appeared, carrying a paper bag from one of the food vendors. She sat beside Chloe, speaking without making eye contact. I'm being followed. Security team from Synthetics. Don't look around. She casually passed the paper bag. Inside is a laptop. It has everything, the complete Mockingbird files, internal emails about Holloway, and proof that they've been monitoring you. The password is eVoice Donor 147, which was your ID in our system. Eliza, why are you doing this? You're risking everything. Because Holloway was right. Mockingbird crossed a line. And because what they're doing to you is wrong. She stood. I have to go. There's a ferry leaving for Sausalito in 10 minutes. Take it. Find somewhere safe to review the files, then take them to the FBI, not local police. Adam doesn't have the same connections there. What about you? I'll be fine. I've covered my tracks. Eliza gave her a small smile. Good luck, Chloe. As Eliza walked away, Chloe noticed 2 men in dark suits entering the ferry building, scanning the crowd. She clutched the paper bag and headed for the ferry terminal. The short journey across the bay gave Chloe time to think. Once in Sausalito, she found a quiet cafe with good Wi-Fi and opened the laptop Eliza had given her. The password worked, and she found herself looking at a treasure trove of documents. There were internal Synthetics emails discussing Mockingbird, including heated exchanges between Warren Holloway and Diana Chen. In one particularly damning thread, Holloway threatened to go public with his concerns, to which Diana responded, "You signed an NDA. Break it, and we'll destroy you professionally and personally." Another folder contained surveillance reports on Chloe herself, dating back to the day after Holloway disappeared. They had been monitoring her calls, her movements, her internet activity. One report noted, subject remains unaware of connection to Holloway's situation. No evidence she has been contacted by anyone associated with WH. Most disturbing was a folder labeled Operation Echo, which contained detailed plans for framing Chloe for Holloway's disappearance, including scripts for the voice messages that would be created using her voice model. The final document was a contract between Synthetics and a branch of the Department of Defense, outlining the military applications of Mockingbird technology. The potential uses were chilling: creating false communications from enemy leaders, generating convincing defector testimonies, even triggering international incidents through fabricated threats. Chloe copied everything to a secure cloud account, then used the cafe's printer to make hard copies of the most damning documents. She needed to get this to someone who could act on it, someone beyond Adam Grayson's influence. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number: "They know where you are. Get out now." Chloe looked up to see a black SUV pulling up outside the cafe. She grabbed the laptop and printouts, stuffed them into her bag, and headed for the rear exit. As she slipped out into an alley, she heard men's voices from the front of the cafe. She ran, turning randomly down Sausalito's narrow streets, trying to put distance between herself and her pursuers. Finally, ducking into a small bookstore, she called the one person she thought might help: Caroline Holloway. "Caroline, it's Chloe Fenton. I need your help. I have proof of what happened to Warren, but people from Synthetics are after me. Where are you?" Caroline's voice was calm but urgent. "Sausalito. Hiding in a bookstore on Princess Street. Stay there. I have a house in Tiburon, just a few minutes away. I'll come get you myself." 20 minutes later, Caroline's sleek silver Mercedes pulled up outside the bookstore. Chloe slipped into the passenger seat, clutching her bag. "Thank you for coming." "Of course." Caroline pulled away from the curb smoothly. "Are you all right? Were you followed?" "I don't think so. I've been watching." "Good. We'll be at my place in 10 minutes. It's secure, and we can decide what to do next." Caroline's house turned out to be a stunning modernist mansion perched on a hillside with panoramic views of the Bay and San Francisco beyond. Inside, the decor was minimalist and expensive, all clean lines and neutral tones. "Make yourself comfortable," Caroline said, leading her to a spacious living room. "Can I get you anything? Water? Something stronger?" "Water would be great, thanks." Chloe set her bag on the coffee table. "I have everything, Caroline. Emails, contracts, surveillance reports. They were watching me, using me to see if anyone else knew what Warren had discovered." Caroline returned with 2 glasses of water. "Show me." Chloe spread the documents across the table, explaining what each one meant. Caroline examined them closely, her expression growing increasingly grave. "This is what Warren was afraid of," she said quietly. "He knew how dangerous this technology could be in the wrong hands. We need to get this to the FBI. Adam has connections with the local police, but federal authorities might be different." Caroline nodded. "I agree. I have a friend who works as a federal prosecutor. I can call her right now." As Caroline reached for her phone, Chloe noticed something on the side table, a small blue key with a plastic covering. Identical to the one Detective Morris had shown her, the key to the storage unit where Holloway's body was found. Chloe's blood ran cold. "Caroline, where did you get that key?" Caroline followed her gaze, then sighed. "You weren't supposed to notice that." It was you?" Chloe stood, backing away. "You framed me. You killed Warren." Caroline's expression changed, the grief and concern replaced by something harder. Warren was going to destroy everything we'd built. Years of work, billions in potential contracts, all because he suddenly developed a conscience. "But why frame me? I had nothing to do with any of this." "You were perfect, Chloe. No connection to Warren or Synthetics beyond your voice. A convenient scapegoat with a ready-made explanation for why your voice was involved." Caroline stood, her posture relaxed but alert. "And I needed someone to find Warren's files, to confirm who else knew about Mockingbird. You led us right to Eliza." Chloe felt sick. You were working with Adam and Diana all along. Of course. The three of us founded Synthetics together. Warren was just an investor who got too close to the operation. Caroline picked up her phone. And now I need to make a call, but not to any prosecutor. Chloe lunged for her bag, but Caroline was faster, shoving her back onto the couch. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Chloe. You've served your purpose. We know who has Warren's files, we know what evidence exists. The cleanup is simple now. They'll know it was you, Chloe said desperately. I told Detective Morris I was meeting with Adam this morning. Caroline laughed softly. Morris works for us. Has from the beginning. How do you think we knew where to plant the evidence? She raised her phone. Now sit quietly while the sound of breaking glass interrupted her as the large window behind them shattered. Caroline spun around as armed officers in FBI jackets poured into the room. FBI. Down on the ground now. Caroline froze, her phone still in her hand. Behind the FBI agents, Chloe saw Detective Morris enter, followed by Eliza. Caroline Holloway, you're under arrest for the murder of Warren Holloway and conspiracy to obstruct justice, Morris said, handcuffing her as another agent secured Chloe's documents. You're working with them, Chloe said to Morris, confused and wary. No, Ms. Fenton. I'm working with the FBI. Have been for months, investigating Synthetics. He nodded toward Eliza. Your friend here is actually Special Agent Martinez, undercover in Synthetics' engineering department. When you contacted me about Holloway's files, it accelerated our timeline. Eliza, or Agent Martinez, approached Chloe. I'm sorry for the deception, but we couldn't risk telling you everything. We've been building a case against Synthetics' leadership for months, ever since Holloway contacted the FBI with his concerns. Then Warren reached out to you before he died. Yes. But before we could bring him in for a formal statement, he was killed. We believe Caroline did it personally, though Adam and Diana authorized it. Are they being arrested too? As we speak. Teams are at Synthetics headquarters and their homes right now. Morris helped Chloe to her feet. You're safe now, Ms. Fenton. But we'll need your formal statement about everything that's happened. 3 months later, Chloe sat in a federal courthouse, watching as Caroline Holloway, Adam Grayson, and Diana Chen were sentenced for their roles in Warren Holloway's murder and the conspiracy surrounding Project Mockingbird. The evidence against them had been overwhelming, particularly after several Synthetics engineers turned state's witness. Afterward, Agent Martinez, now back to using her real name, Elena, met Chloe outside. How does it feel? Surreal, Chloe admitted. I still can't believe any of this happened. Well, your testimony was crucial. And that recording you made of Adam? It broke the case wide open. What happens to Mockingbird now? The technology has been seized by the government. There's talk of regulatory frameworks, ethical guidelines. The usual bureaucracy. Elena smiled wryly. But at least it's not in their hands anymore. And my voice. All voice models are being returned to their donors, with compensation for damages. You should be receiving a rather substantial settlement. Chloe nodded, though money seemed a poor exchange for what she'd been through. What will you do now? New assignment. Different tech company, different potential abuse. Elena shrugged. The work never ends. What about you? I've been offered a position with a digital rights advocacy group. Using my experience to help develop better protections for voice and image rights in the AI age. Chloe looked out at the city. Someone has to make sure this doesn't happen again. As they parted ways, Chloe's phone chimed with a notification. A news alert, Congress to hold hearings on AI voice rights following Synthetic scandal. She smiled grimly. It was a start. That evening, in her apartment, Chloe recorded a new voicemail greeting. Her own voice, her own words, her own truth. In a world where anyone's voice could be stolen and used against them, authenticity had become both more precious and more fragile than ever before. But as she spoke into the microphone, Chloe felt something she hadn't felt in months: ownership of her own story, her own voice, her own future.